It's Thursday. You know what that means. It's time for Title Talk with your host, Drew Wishover, entrepreneur, published author, and owner of Inspired Title Group, along with his co-host and director of operations, Amy Maley. Each week, the team will offer industry terminology, tips, and strategies, along with the occasional real estate professional to help educate as it pertains to buying, selling, or just plain old home ownership. We thank you for spending time with us today. Now, let's join this episode of Title Talk.
We're here. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday.
I am not a floating head.
Holiday weekend.
It is a holiday weekend.
Woo-hoo.
Yes, it's a long weekend.
I hope you guys are enjoying the start to a holiday weekend.
Be safe with your fireworks if you are a fireworker.
A fireworker?
I think that's what they call people who
Oh,
like
nice.
fireworks.
I've never heard that used as a verb.
You're
a
welcome.
fireworker.
You
Nice
are
job.
welcome. Yeah, so please enjoy your long weekends, friends. We are Inspired Business Group. My name is Amy.
And I'm Drew.
I just yoinked that from
That's
you.
perfect. You yoinked it. That's another great word. Love it. So, hey, we are getting things started here today, talking about, actually, I guess we're wrapping up our month of June. Do you believe
Dude,
that?
I cannot believe
It's July and tomorrow. I mean, yeah.
July and tomorrow.
It's incredible. Like, I thought that we were literally just starting this whole thing.
The year's half over.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. Holy mackerel. We're gonna go ahead and jump into talking about some things that are going on in the market. Talk about some market trends and things that we're starting to see. Obviously, with the interest rates going up and
What?
the housing market kind of being
Shifting a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you see it based on title
For sure.
business and
So,
new deals.
You would ask me, 8-9 months, you would ask Britt and I what our majority of orders that we were putting into the system. Refis.
For sure.
Refis, it was probably 8 to 2 refis to buys and sells.
Mhm.
And I would say that number completely flip-flopped the opposite way now. I would say purchases are probably about 80% of it, and I would say refis are probably about 20% of it. Which is cool. I like to see that the market is shifting and the market's moving. Do I like the high interest rates? No, but it's fun to see stuff still moving and happening.
And I think that this gives us the opportunity to talk to you guys about what we're seeing and some of the things that are being talked about in our industry to kind of share with you, so you guys are kind of in the loop as well. Because as much as people are still out there buying and selling homes, things are different, and
home prices are dropping
They
like
are.
a lot. Not a lot, but Joe and I, we like to favorite houses on Redfin that we could never afford because and one of the houses that he really liked just dropped $30,000
wow,
from like the last 3 weeks.
wow,
Like that's a pretty decent number.
yeah. I mean, there's still people out there looking to buy them, but now it's not where you're getting these multiple offer. I mean, those are still out there. Don't get me wrong. Those opportunities are still taking place. But I think that as Amy just mentioned, we're starting to see folks try to get back into that reality of saying, wow, I was able to get an inflated amount for my house 6 months ago, but now it's a little bit more.
So
realistic.
now what you get to do, don't sell your house, go move in with your parents, buy a house for cheaper, and then once the market switches again, go sell your house.
For all you parents out there, that's a horrible recommendation.
No, it's great.
Anyone
Flo
who's
and
a parent-
Roseanne would love Joe and Amy are roommates for a couple months.
Well, I would like to hear right from Floyd or Roseanne if that is true.
My mom offered it.
Yeah, but Floyd wasn't. He's not aware of that yet. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So why don't we kick off with talking about some of the trends and some of the things that we're starting to see in the upcoming year or years and things.
Sure. You kick it off.
I do. I will. Thank you. We're starting to see a lot more of the digital
So
marketplace where literally people are buying houses sight unseen.
Would you ever do that?
No, I don't.
Would you guys ever do that?
I mean,
No
Yeah,
way.
I don't think I could.
realistically, especially being in the development side of it, you don't know they can't capture every aspect of the house. Bless you.
Thank you.
So the pictures you see, then you go out and see it, you go, that looks nothing like the
Dude,
picture.
they do like those widescreen ones where it's like the bedroom looks like it's a football field and you get in there and you're like, it's a shoebox.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's
I
a
mean,
lot of trick photography that I think
It
you
really
can
is,
do.
and the pandemic obviously, really accelerated the digital piece of this because of how everybody had to do it so quickly. Everything had to happen so fast, and
I'm a fan of the drones. I do like that. I do
well,
like the drone
yeah.
pictures. I do, but it's like it's for a first look thing. It's not for I'm
Totally.
gonna buy my house based on this thing.
I think it's
creepy.
cool to use technology, and that's fun.
Yeah.
But sight unseen, buying these houses just digitally, and even our business, even we're talking about doing closings a little bit more remotely,
Remote
where
online.
you're not, having to have that face to face.
Yeah.
You're kind of doing it all electronically.
For sure.
That's kind of crazy.
I think
So,
COVID fast forwarded technology in our field like by probably 7 years.
I
I'm
mean,
thinking.
we've talked about that before, and
Yeah.
I really agree. It's insane to see how this is. I mean, millennials are obviously very tech savvy, so they're out there.
All those youngins.
Yeah, they're out there.
I'm not you.
Wanting to utilize that opportunity to let me go check on that house. Let me go look and see what I see. What does this really entail?
Yeah.
And now it's at their fingertips, and they don't want to have to put in any work or things to it. So what do? They buy the house sight unseen. It's like holy.
Don't say
moly.
they.
They.
Don't say they.
Okay.
Some of they.
You.
Some of they. All right. What else is happening? People are moving from cities to suburbs.
Oh boy.
Yep.
That's so true.
Okay, so a term came out from COVID that I've never heard before. Middle neighborhoods.
Yes.
So, you have big cities,
Yes.
you have small towns,
Mm-hmm.
and now middle neighborhoods are a thing. And why they're calling them middle neighborhoods, it's kind of a smattering of both things.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your single family houses still, but then you're throwing in some apartments and some condos and a little bit more public transportation and stuff. I was reading that it's a little bit harder to get zoning approved in a lot of these places,
Yep,
but it is
yep.
something that I think people are going to start working with because it actually is a cool thing. And
Yeah.
so why are people getting out of big cities? Lower taxes,
Definitely lower taxes.
cheaper housing, and cheaper rent.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Those are very big factors.
yeah, and I think, some people, a lot of people lost their jobs in COVID, and so the people that were living in these big cities paying a really high mortgage or really high
Mhm.
rent, they were forced to move out. Whereas I think some of the wealthy people that could have stayed in the city are now choosing to kind of get away from the hustle and bustle of that to kind of have their own little slice of heaven. So yeah, it's one of those weird things that I think is still kind of developing. And what is the year that I saw? How long is this supposed to happen? A long time. Through 2025
Yeah.
is what they are kind of guesstimating that people will be relocating out of cities into suburbs.
And COVID again provided that opportunity to say, hey, we can work from home, or a lot of businesses determine the ability to not having to have people in office,
Yeah.
and it allowed a shift. So these big cities are, like, I remember going downtown during COVID, or right during that time, or before it, after it, and it was desolate.
Deserted,
down there.
yeah.
I mean, nobody is traveling down there to go to their
So
office.
eerie.
It was really, really weird when you take a city like Chicago, and as busy as it has been and is, and all of a sudden
Yoink.
you can shoot a cannon down the street and not hit anybody. It's like, holy mackerel.
They should have been filming the next Batman during that point.
Yeah, that would have been great. No, they do.
Instead of
It's
having to
busy.
close
Yeah.
Wagner.
So another trend that we're starting to see is people are moving to the south, more specifically like the Sun Belt states, which really the Sun Belt states go from Southern California all the way south down to Florida, and it's crazy, but that has been a very, very big migration over the last handful of years, that people are moving out into that region. More professionals, younger professionals, because again, lower taxes, affordable housing, and affordable rent. I mean, it's incredible that the Midwest and the big cities, LA, New York, Chicago, they're people, that's where people wanted to live, and now taxes have gotten so strict that they're afraid, and they're getting out of there. So it's really interesting to find that there's a migration that is further south. It's not just retirees anymore. It's not
Right.
people that are going, hey, I'm just going to move down to Florida and retire down there.
And this isn't buying a second home in Florida.
No.
This is completely relocating, and it's not
Absolutely.
being like a, what do they call those? Winter bird? Snowbird?
Snowbirds.
Snowbird.
Yeah, snowbird.
Winter bird.
Yes.
Yeah, so not snowbirds. It's like people actually up and leaving
Yep.
here and going there.
The two major ones are Dallas and Tampa. Those are the two, and the influx in Texas has been incredible. We've heard in our business the amount of growth that Texas has received. Florida every year gains growth, and that was not just due to the senior population. This is truly due to people migrating down south and starting their businesses down there, and or getting away from the taxes and the high home prices in the upper states.
Yep. Next, we got single-family housing demand is creating shortages in the market. We kind of touched on that a teeny tiny bit, but with this uprise of people working from home, with this uprise of people wanting to get out of apartments, and millennials are now in kind of that age where they're starting families, and I like how I say they're so far away from me. They're so much younger than me, those youngins.
Yeah.
But the low interest rates, all these compounding factors are pushing people to buy single family homes instead of continuing to rent or lease houses or lease apartments and stuff. And it's created that shortage that we were talking about that is now thankfully started to plateau a little bit. But yeah, there were days where I would go on Redfin a year and something ago, and there was 3 houses that you could find at all. And I think that number 3 is probably around 30 now. I would think, but it's a good thing to see that shift happening.
Well, and what we know is, we know that this is cyclical. This will stabilize. It
For sure.
does this.
The real
ebbs
estate
and
market
flows.
does. Yeah.
In the refi boom, being interest rates being low, housing market, there not being a lot of inventory out there. Now there's a lot more folks building houses, and then there's the influx of as these interest rates rise, more houses will be on the
Yes.
market because
That's
people
when-
are not buying them.
And during COVID is when my brother and sister-in-law bought their first house. And it was one of those
Okay.
things where they were living in a probably 700 or 800 square foot apartment in the
Okay.
city.
Mhm.
They're both working from home.
Yep.
They're like, holy crap.
You're probably paying a high dollar for that, right? And
yes.
it's crazy.
Yes.
A mortgage. You're paying a mortgage for the rent.
You are, 100%. So that kind of
Yeah.
bumped them, I think, to, I know they were looking, but I think that kind of speedlined the process, and I think that's kind of what happened with a lot of people. If my house is my office, if I could get out of the city, move to the suburbs, like you said, pay my mortgage of what I'm paying for my lease and have
Yeah.
my own office, sign me up.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. And that kind of coincides with my next trend is that home prices continue to rise. So there's the data is saying that the appraised value of these houses has just gone silly, right? So as appraisals keep going up, people are getting more money for their houses, and now interest rates are increasing. So what does that do? That tips it now to the other way. So the report of the home prices continuing to rise is a statistic that was from 2020 and 2021. Yes, that was factual. But now into 2022, the first half of it, we've seen a stabilization of that where I don't think they're rising anymore. I think they've kind of plateaued, and now we're starting to see them go the other way.
Yeah.
The median price for a home is $350,000.
Oh my God.
Yep, that's
That's
up 11%.
That's a
Year over year.
big number.
That's a huge number.
Okay, so when does minimum wage rise to $60 an hour?
Yeah, I mean that's just it. Like what?
How are people expected to be able to buy homes with the inflation of life in general?
Right.
Median house price being $350. That's an aggressive number.
And-
My
and-
eye is twitching because of that
Yeah,
number.
and what's interesting about that is just to your
It's
point
stress,
is
right?
that's why people are renting. That's why people go into the rental market, because they're like, I don't have the downstroke to pay 20% of that, which is $70,000.
Get an FHA loan then.
Yeah, right. And that's why the FHA loans were so very popular
were,
and so
yeah.
very big to, everything that we've done on the development side. I would say 95% of
I
what
would
we've
say close to
sold
that, yeah.
has been to the FHA
I would
buyer,
put that.
which, hey, God bless them, and that's why they're there. That's why that program's available. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that trend goes, But go into your
Mortgage rates did drop.
Yep.
Mortgage rates are now on the rise. I think mortgage rates, they reached a 50-year low in 2020.
Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable.
What was, you said in 06, 08, when was the last?
The crash was, yes.
And
6,
what were
7, 8.
interest rates then?
Um,
Weren't they like 6, 7, 8%?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, I can even go back further than that. I mean, when I played mortgage broker, I refinanced people that were 16, 17%.
That is, I think we just did a closing and it was like 8.6. Was that the number we saw? It was like,
Wow.
holy jamal, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, you take into consideration that probably was for an investment property, because I think that at the end
True.
of the day, the reality is that they're hovering somewhere around 5 right now,
That-
which isn't tragic, but when they were 3.
it's tragic. It's tragic compared to what it was, you
Yeah.
know, 8 months ago.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it's rightfully so, and that leads to rental properties. That whole market is down. You think about that, yes, those that are charging rent can definitely charge a premium, but because the interest rates were low, houses were affordable, people were able to buy. If they had stronger buying power, they were able to go to a bank, get a loan at that 2 to 3%, and afford the house and do the American dream. So what did that do? That took people out of the rental market and put them into the home buying market, which makes sense, And you start to look at the trend of where that's going to go. Well, if interest rates go up and prices of houses go up, well, people are going to settle back into renting until that kind of stabilizes.
Yep.
It's really crazy. It's like the plus minus. It's buying a house or renting a house. It's the epitome of the opposite. When one is doing well, the other is not.
Correct. Yeah.
Stocks and bonds. Well, if stocks are doing well, bonds are not. I mean, it's just
Right.
the trend of what you'll see and how you'll see them kind of progress. Just crazy to see people, and what speaks to that is the earlier trend about the people moving out of the big cities. The big cities tend to have apartment complexes in them.
Right.
So if they're moving out of these apartment complexes, they're leaving these rental properties and they're buying in the southern belt and
Right.
buying that first home.
Yeah.
It's pretty nutty. I often wonder, what. I mean, it's a cycle. We've been in the business for a long period of time, so we've seen these things.
I'm young.
You've been in it forever. If you're in anything over 5 years, it's forever. It's forever. So,
But I just did read in this nice little
Yeah?
handout you gave me, I'm a millennial.
I know.
I didn't know that.
How does that make you feel?
Young and sprightly.
Young and sprightly.
I'm an older Gen Y millennial.
You have an old soul, though.
I do. I think I'm like a silent generation in my mentality and a millennial in my being.
Wow.
Doesn't the sweatshirt
So-
make me look young?
What do you think the 2022 predictions are for the summer? You got any thoughts to that?
No.
Okay, good.
I think you're gonna start it and I'm gonna bounce my ideas off you.
Fabulous. So the question that people ask and we often hear and see is, will this market stay hot? Will this, are we gonna stay in this trend, and how long, and what does that mean? And I think the only thing that I can speak to really, important to me is that it lasts for a period of time. All these things go for a period of time. There's a cycle at what these things run at, because one dynamically affects the other. And so if the housing market is staying where interest rates are low and they have the power to buy, what did we see? We saw the fact that there was no inventory.
Right.
So that's great that you allow people to buy, but if people aren't selling because they just refinanced it to stay there longer
Right.
because the interest rate was low,
Right.
you're creating a cycle that says, I have nothing to buy. Although I want to buy, but I have nothing to buy. I
Right.
can't buy. So how long does it last? It lasts a period of time until there's no longer that inventory of available things, and then the market starts to shift. And what shifts? You see people shifting into, okay, the interest rates are going up. Well, now people are saying, well, all right, I'm certainly not going to sell my house,
Right.
but I still want to buy. Now interest rates are higher. Now you got a bunch of buyers who are going to be paying more in the monthly payment. So it's a trend that causes a cycle. And how long is it going to last? You can follow the news on a daily basis and watch and see what is happening in the economic forecast.
Right.
And that the climate of what's going on in the economy dictates what's going to happen in the housing market.
Correct.
It's-
They are
it's-
very, very closely related.
Absolutely.
How much longer should we chit chat about this?
Couple more minutes.
All right, I just want.
Yeah.
You might have heard the term housing bubble before.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of a reflection on what happened in 2008. It happened, right? There was a
did.
housing bubble.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know as much about it as you probably do, to be 100% honest with you. So is that when like an increase in demand, like
Yeah,
happens super fast, like
Yep.
that there's not enough product to be able to.
Right.
Okay.
Tremendous demand, a surplus of supply, and homes are easily obtainable via easy credit. So
Okay.
you make it affordable, you make it easy. Thus, 2008 crash. They made it easy.
Everyone could buy a house, right? Like
Whether they were financially strong enough
correct.
or not.
Like whether or not you were able to buy a house in 2008, you could buy a house,
Mm-hmm.
and then that caused that housing bubble.
Right.
We are not in that right now.
Right. That is
Because when house prices were high, interest rates were low,
right.
which was fine.
Right.
Now that house prices are lowering a little bit, interest rates are going up. So that's how we're kind of finding that middle ground.
Yep.
So that housing bubble, the real estate market is doing everything it can to make that not happen. Not
Yeah.
a repeat of 08.
And I think the crash caused the
People
industry
to-
to change.
yes,
To say,
100%.
you know what, we're going to put more qualified buyers out there. We're not gonna overappraise these houses to make these things affordable.
Yeah.
We're gonna be a little bit more strict to this, and,
Yes.
and I think that's what they want.
So we are not in a housing bubble.
No, not at all. So I think that that's probably a good spot for us
Think that's
to
And super low fun fact.
Yeah.
I just read this. 24% of 2021 buyers
Mm-hmm.
were 41 to 55 years old.
believe it.
2% were 21 years and younger. If you are able to buy a house
God
when you're
bless.
21,
Yeah, God
dude, you
bless.
are doing something right.
Yeah.
Props to you. Numbers and
Yeah.
trends and stuff is always cool to me.
Yeah, that's fun.
And I'm a millennial.
We found it all out today.
Found
We
it
learned a
all
lot.
out in my. Is there anything else they need to know?
Oh, you'll find it, I'm sure. Hopefully, you guys, were able to kind of, get some ideas and thoughts from the some trends that we're kind of seeing and things that we're starting to come up against. So we don't want to keep you guys forever on a holiday weekend. We definitely want to get into your.
Freeze.
Your-
Switch.
I was going there,
I know.
Oh
All right.
boy,
It's less than a month away.
less than.
Less than a month away, the third annual golf outing to celebrate the life of Tim Garvin Jr. To be honest, I've been overwhelmed at the amount of people that have wanted to participate in some way. I'm getting donations from people that like.
Great.
I'm shouting out to Cooper's Hawk right now and to SIP in Tinley Park. They both just donated baskets for us to raffle off. Inspired Business has got a chunk of raffles that we are giving away, from signed jerseys to TVs to Lord knows what else he's gonna pull out of his butt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're at 16 foursomes right now.
Nice.
So
That's
we still
awesome.
have room for a couple more to sign up. If you are not a golfer, you are still more than welcome to come attend this awesome event. We have a couple people that have reached out about coming to dinner and hanging out with us and having some fun.
It is a great time. It was a wonderful time. It goes to a wonderful cause.
The Miracle League of Joliet, all the proceeds go directly to the Miracle League of Joliet. We do not benefit from this one penny, just in our hearts.
Yeah, other than our hearts, it really makes our hearts feel great. I mean, I think the efforts that are going into this are great. The people, the supporting cast has just been remarkable. And come on out, give us a shout if you have any questions about it. Amy has all the information that you need. She can get you connected to signing up for a foursome, sponsoring a hole, donating a raffle gift or a prize, all of that stuff. We would appreciate any of that help as well.
Cool.
So there.
Yeah.
So before we sign off on this wonderful weekend of holiday, it is with just some sadness that I share the leaving of our producer and wonderful, wonderful lady, Brittany, who is been working so hard on this show, who has been doing a great job throughout the time she spent with us and creating this and this content. We are absolutely gonna miss her each and every day. So she is moving on to a wonderful opportunity in using her marketing degree, as you can so see with the wonderful creation that she's done with this. but it is, I couldn't leave this just unsaid. I thank her for her hard work in this and the time that we got to share together, working together, and I wish her nothing but the best. We are 100% supporting her in her next efforts and endeavors, and we're sad to see her go, but we're excited for what's to come in her realm. So the show, Amy is very emotional about it, but that's okay. The show will go on, and she has promised us that she is only a phone call away to rescue the new producer that we're going to be working with. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I don't know if, I mean, you better have a speed dial button available there, Britt, because there may be lots of Thursday morning calls. So
FaceTimes,
thank you so very much to you and everything that you've done here. I am excited to say that I know you and to be a part of your growth, and I'm glad to see that you are moving on to something that is within your field and in your world, and would wish you nothing but the best. So, guys, until next week, we are wishing you the happiest of holidays. We are wishing you the safest of holidays. Enjoy your weekend. Go out and do something fun. It's going to be a great weekend. Stay out of trouble. And Inspired Business Group will be here with you guys next week. Until next week, my name's Drew.
Good night.
Yeah, that is Ami Mali.
My name is Congested Amy.
Yes, we wish you guys a happy holiday. Until next week, take care, everybody. Happy 4th.
Well, there you have it. That is it for this week's edition of Title Talk. Be sure to head over to our Inspired YouTube page and subscribe and like. And make sure you follow the team on Instagram and Facebook. Join us again next time for more tips and knowledge from the industry pros. Thanks again for listening.